Hi, girls. Welcome back to another episode of the Inner Path podcast. I'm your host, Via, and as always, I'm really excited to be here. And yes, you heard it right. If you usually listen to the podcast, I usually say hi, everyone. But honestly, first of all, my demographics is very clearly basically women. And I just want this to feel like more intimate and I want to be more myself. And I feel like this is a space for the girls. I want to be very specific about that. I want you to know that it's for you. And I want this to feel familiar. I want this to feel intimate and cozy. And I want this to feel like a Friday night with the girls where we talk about everything and we philosophize and we just like reflect and have deep conversation, but then we're also silly and we're also just having fun and it doesn't feel heavy at all. It's like light and good, and I'm still gonna bring you the value and I'm still hopefully gonna inspire you. That's the goal for sure. But coming from a place of we're here. We're here just having a conversation, sharing, and I want that to feel like that, cozy. And I want to bring more of myself, and I feel like a big part of myself is me being a girl's girl, like a girl, like you go girl type of stuff, and I want to bring more of that to the podcast. So that's why I decided to change it. And I just want to be more and more specific about, my target audience, like marketing wise. I'm not going to bore you with that, but my point is I just want to be more specific to who I'm talking to, because I know it's you. I know it's my girls. It's just a matter of owning that. And I think I've been scared of doing it because I was like, wow, what if someone like doesn't like that and stops listening? What if someone doesn't what if someone isn't a girl and is listening to my podcast? And if that's your case, you don't have to be a girl. Like, I'm still gonna share things that you're gonna relate to 100% for sure. It's just that now you're part of the girls. Now you're in the circle. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say, just so you know that it's a permanent change and it's going to continue to happen. And I'm already thinking about, creating a new intro and outro and all that. And it's going to be on this energy of like creating this space for you guys and for me to feel fully comfortable, to be myself and really share from an intimate place. And it's been exciting doing all these changes. I feel like now that the year is coming to an end, I've been reflecting on a lot of things and really creating very clear intentions on what I want for 2024. And I want to up level in my business, in my life, but specifically on my business, it's a lot around like being very clear about my mission and just focusing on that and continuing to like create things and create content and create programs, everything directed towards that mission and towards my vision for my business. And a big part of it has been these like changes here and there that I've been doing on the podcast, just being more myself, just being more comfortable with like sometimes being silly and not always being this like very polite person and very serious person, because I'm talking about things that matter. Like, yeah, I'm talking about things that matter, but I like to just, be silly and stupid and goofy and cringe sometimes. Who knows? I like to be it all. And I want to validate myself with that. I want to say you get to be yourself, because also like if I'm not being myself, I feel like you guys don't really have an example to be yourselves, and I want to be that example for you. So yeah, I'm also super excited because until the end of the year, guys, I already have 3 people scheduled to come into the podcast to talk and have really cool conversations that I'm super excited for. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. I have been bringing more people to the show because I want to bring more value. I want to bring more perspectives. I want to help you like expand your horizons. And so that's going to happen more often, but don't you worry. I'm still here and I'm still a Leo and I still love the attention. I still have the need to express myself. So this is still my space, like this is still where I'm going to be talking a lot, and I still want to be the center of attention, of course, but while also like, embracing the fact that there's so many women creating the life of our dreams and like having so many examples of what reality can look like for us. And I want to take these examples here. I want to have these testimonials on my podcast and really show you like the life you desire is out there. The life you desire, someone else is living in. And it is possible for us to change our lives. And it's not just because I have changed it, but it's because every single person that I'm bringing to the podcast has a story. that you might relate to, that you probably will relate to. And so I want you to know that it is that possible for you, just like it is possible for every single one of us. So yeah, that's really exciting. And also, it's the end of the year, which is always a really important part of the year for me, because I feel like it really, like, I feel this buildup of energy about like reflecting on 2023 and setting my intentions for 2024. And I feel like for the past 2 years, being very clear on that vision or setting somewhat of some intentions has helped me create the life that I have now. And I have manifested so many things that I set out to manifest last year in 2022. And it's beautiful. And some of those things I'm going to be manifesting during this New Year's Eve, but I can't talk about it now because it's a surprise and it's very close to my heart. And I want to make sure that I'm doing the thing and I'm there when I share it. But you guys will know, of course. And so everything is happening right now. I feel like I've been building up that energy and really reflecting on everything that I've been doing. And so I just want to put this out there. I am going to be doing an episode about it, obviously, because it's so important to have those intentions and have a more clear vision on what you want. So definitely you have to, listen to that episode. It's coming out eventually. I don't know exactly when. I'm hoping that it's still within within the year, but within the month of December. But we'll see, because there's a lot coming, like right now, like a lot happening, a lot going on. And the other thing that I wanted to say is, if you are very like, if you feel like the need to set intentions and you really want to work towards that, you want to start your year right, you want to like lay out the groundwork of your year and feel ready to start energetically, like mentally. I can't speak today. Mentally, physically, you're just like in that energy of like expansion, of I can do this, of I'm ready to change, I'm ready to choose myself, I'm ready to choose the life of my dreams, I'm ready to make that vision a reality for me. If that's something that you really want to, like, if you want to feel that way, if you want to be ready and you want to like put yourself in that energy of expansion, possibility, and capacity to hold all those manifestations and all those dreams, then I really advise you to come to my next call, because it's going to be next week. It's a membership call. It's the Goddess Codes. You probably have heard of it at some point. But basically, we're going to be doing a call all about setting intentions for 2024, reflecting on 2023. I did a guided meditation that I'm going to be playing during that call, and it's going to help you create a very clear vision on what you want, and also to connect you with your higher self, so you can be in the energy of, all the things that you want to attract, not just for next year, but for your life. And if you really want that, because you feel like you've been all over the place, you're not sure what you want, you don't have a clear vision, you feel very, very scattered, I think this call can be really helpful for you to become more focused and become more intentional about what you do next, and what are the next steps that are going to take you closer to the person that you want to be, and the life of your dreams. So you should definitely gum. I was going to say go and then come and then gum. That's what happened. But you should definitely come to this call, and if you want to join, you just have to check out the link in the description of this episode, or you can go to my Instagram, and it's in the link in the bio under the Goddess Codes. So you should definitely come, not gum, not go, not okay. I'm sorry, guys, you have no idea how many times I've tried to like do this episode, but I don't know why my tongue is just getting tied up over and over again. I can't speak. I don't know what's happening. It's annoying the shit out of me, but I'm really trying to not do it again. So I'm just gonna take a breath. It's okay. Okay, so I'm really excited about today's episode. I've been meaning to do it for a while, but I really wanted to make sure that, I had a very clear idea and clear points to bring to you guys. Because sometimes we talk about, so today's episode is about choosing yourself and what that actually means. And I feel like we talk about these things very like in the air, even on social media. Like, yes, there are very like inspirational accounts and people that talk about this, but I still feel like they don't really show you what it means, because it's hard to, like, you can't really do it in a 15-second video, in a 10-second video, in a even 1-minute video. Probably I can't even deliver all of it during this podcast, and I talk a lot, you know? But still, it's so deep. It goes so deep that it's really hard to explain, and I think it's so important though to understand, because when we don't understand, we talk about choosing yourself and loving yourself and it's all up in the air. But then are we actually actively choosing ourselves? And so I want to bring these to you because I want you to have the power to reflect on this. I want you to be able to really, like, at the end of this episode, be like, okay, so am I actually choosing myself? And I want you to be able to, like, have a clear answer. And I also want you to know how you can start choosing yourself more. Because if you don't know, and if you're not really in the self-love journey, or you're just starting out, or you've been doing it for a while, but you still feel like you're not sure where to go and how to do it, and like, you know, like you're kind of lost, I feel like this is a really good way to start. Because self-love is about choosing yourself in many ways. It's about a lot of things, but one of them is choosing yourself. Choosing yourself is what tells you, I can trust you. I feel seen by you. I feel heard. I feel safe. I feel protected. I feel chosen, and ultimately I feel loved. That's how you get to self-love, you know? You don't just like, oh my God, I love me and that's it. Like, it's a process. It's building a relationship, you know? And when you're building a relationship with someone outside, you know, in your life, in your friendships, in your romantic partners, like, you take time to build that relationship. You show up. You like bring something to the table. You nurture the relationship. You nurture the person in whatever way feels right to you. But you are there, and you do things in such a way that makes the other person feel loved. That makes the other person feel like you are choosing them over someone else, or, you know, like you are making them a priority in a way. And in a way, choosing yourself, that's what it means. Is it's making yourself your number one priority. I probably have said this a million times, but you are your number one priority. You are the most important thing in your life, whether you want it, whether you want it to be there that way or not, you know, because it's not about what you want. It's just the facts. Like, when you are good, everything else will reflect that. And when you're not doing good, when you're doing shitty, when you're suffering, when you're hurt, when you're in pain, when you're in fear, everything else is going to reflect that too. And so working on yourself has to become an intentional priority. It's not just like, oh, I'm number one, I prioritize myself, but then again, you're not actually actively doing it. And so I want to bring all these points to you so that you can start doing it. And if you are doing it already, so you can understand, where am I not doing it? Because I'm not doing it in every single area of my life. Like, I struggle with it in certain areas and in certain times, in certain moments, and we're human. I'm not saying that you have to be perfect, but I am saying that you get to be better. I am saying that you get to change, and you can, you know, you can commit to this path because it improves your life. It improves how you feel about yourself, and that's the most important thing. So yeah, let's just start. These are not in a particular order, to be honest, because I think, like, all of these are connected, like interconnected. All of these are connected with one another. Like, they all kind of reflect and project on each other. And so I didn't have a specific order to bring you, but all of these are very equally important. The first one that I wrote was putting your well-being first. That is your emotional well-being, your mental well-being, and your physical well-being. This is probably one of the most important things, and we overlook it all the time. I see a lot of people, for example, not resting enough. They're not putting their well-being first when they don't rest. I see a lot of people that just ignore certain things, like about their emotional well-being, because they're scared of, like, facing certain emotions, and they're scared of doing the inner work, and so they end up not really paying attention to what is happening emotionally within them. And what happens is, when you're not paying when you're not paying attention to your emotions, then you're not really prioritizing your well-being. You're discarding yourself, and you're prioritizing comfort. You're prioritizing distractions, and you're allowing yourself to not really put your well-being first. It's not always easy. Let me start with saying that, by the way. Choosing yourself is not easy. A lot of the times it's going to put you in very uncomfortable situations, especially when you're just starting on that journey. And it's going to challenge you. It's really going to push you to do things that you would never do before. But I'm not here because this path is necessarily easy all the time, but nothing is always easy, first of all. So it doesn't really matter. But this is the best path I've ever been on, and I would never choose anything else. Like, this has given me so much strength, so much power, so much courage, so much resilience. And so I want you to know it is not easy, and I'm not gonna talk here like it is, because it's not. And so I'm not here also to like guilt trip you and make you feel shitty for not choosing yourself, because I know that it can be really hard. I know it can be tough. I know it can be challenging. And yet that's not an excuse not to do it, you know? We get to push ourselves. We get to do challenging things. We can do hard things. We do a lot of hard things. We just don't notice it. Okay, but I'm going on a tangent here. But so putting your well-being first, that's very important. I feel like a lot of people discard that. And that can also mean, for example, like choosing to eat healthy. And doesn't mean that you always have to eat healthy, but it means that you also don't always eat, like, I don't know, fast food. And you don't always order food out. Like, you sometimes cook your own meals, and you choose to like include fruits and vegetables in your diet. And it means that you understand that your mental, physical, and emotional well-being matters a lot, and it should be prioritized over comfort, over people pleasing, over making someone happy, over everything, really, like over everything. Because, for example, if your work environment completely sucks life out of you, putting your well-being first means that you're gonna have to make a tough choice to leave or to change something about it, because you cannot allow yourself to stay in a situation that harms you. And that is actually point number 2. It's not staying in or choosing situations that constantly harm you. And this is something that I also see a lot. Honestly, that was the story of my life until I chose not anymore, because I deserve better than that. And but for for a long time, it was like I would put myself in really bad situations because I didn't care about my well-being. Like, I didn't care whether, I was good or not, whether I was harming myself or not. And when I say harm, I don't mean, self-harm. Well, it is self-harm, but not in the way that we know it. It's like doing things that are not good for us. Kind of like in the first point, it's not good for our well-being. It's not good for our mental health. It's not good for our bodies. It's not good for anything. It harms us because it harms our spirit. It harms our vision. It harms our well-being. It harms us in general, right? And so I say staying in, like, you shouldn't stay in these situations, obviously. Choosing yourself means not staying. It means leaving situations like this. Like, it meant me leaving my relationship because it was really toxic, and it was constantly putting me on a loop where, I was in pain. I was in fear. I didn't like myself. I was always disrespecting myself. And so I had to break that cycle. I had to choose to not be in a situation that was constantly harming me. And as soon as you recognize the source of that harm, the source of that situation, whether that's a relationship, whether that's a pattern that you have with yourself, whether that's like a work environment, whatever it is, but you need to realize what it is that is keeping you in this cycle of harm, and this cycle that constantly hurts you and constantly hurts your vision and the person that you want to become. Because it's not just about hurting you right now, but it's about, like, if you want to become a certain type of person, if you want to love yourself, if you want to feel brave, if you want to feel powerful, if you want to create a certain type of life for yourself, if you want to create the life of your dreams, then you can also, like, you shouldn't put yourself in situations that harm that vision, because harming that vision is the same as harming you, right? Like, for example, if I were to do a full-time job working somewhere and not posting online, not doing what I'm doing now, and completely giving up on my dream, that would be harming myself in a way because I'm harming my vision. And so there's a lot of examples here. I wrote them down. A few of them are overuse of alcohol and drugs. This is something that I used to do a lot on my in my teenage years. I used to drink a lot. Like a lot. At least every Friday night we would go out, which is okay. I don't mind going out, but I think a part of me wanted to get drunk because I needed to disappear, if that makes sense. Like I needed to not be conscious. I couldn't handle my own thoughts. I couldn't handle my own brain and my own fears and my own insecurities. And alcohol allowed me to feel to let go of all my inhibitions in a way. And so I would do it. I would overdo it. I would do it until I couldn't feel my skin, my body. I would do it until I was puking and feeling sick and having a very bad hungover, and all of that because I wanted to avoid myself. I didn't want to be with myself, and I was constantly in that cycle. And eventually I realized that for me to become the person that I want, for me to honor myself, for me to choose myself, I need to stop engaging with this. And it doesn't mean stop drinking alcohol or stop smoking weed or anything, because first of all, I can't tell you what to do, and second of all, I don't believe that those are necessarily bad. You can drink a glass of wine, you can drink a few beers, you can even feel a bit tipsy, but it's about your intention behind it. If you're doing it because you want to avoid things, if you want to do it because you want to distract yourself, that's a completely different thing than you're doing it because that drink is feeling nice and you're in a comfortable and safe environment and you're having fun and things are just happening and suddenly you feel a bit tipsy. Or one day here and there you smoke a little weed and you're just relaxed, and you're not doing it because you want to escape your thoughts or because you want to numb yourself out. You don't want to do it for any of those reasons. You want to do it because generally the opportunity came up and you're just well, why not? Or you want to do it because you want to connect to your spirituality, because I know a lot of people use weed to connect to spirit and, for example, meditate or have vivid dreams or etc., etc. And you get to choose whether you do that or not. And I'm not here to say that that's wrong or that's right. I don't think that's my place, but it is my place to tell you that you need to be very aware of your intentions, because that is dictating whether you are doing something that harms you or not. It's not necessarily that alcohol itself harms you, it's how you do it and why. And the other thing is staying in toxic and draining environments, like a few examples that I already gave, being in a work environment that completely depletes you of your energy, where people mistreat you, where you're always being overworked, where people don't value you, where people talk shit behind your back, where you feel judged, where your mental health is being harmed, where your emotional health is going to shit, or your physical health too. And when you start feeling like you're fading as a person, you're just almost this job is killing you and you just keep staying, that's not fair to you. You need to choose yourself and leave, even if that means, again, putting yourself in a uncomfortable situation. Because obviously, if you've been in this job for a while and you feel comfortable with it because you know what to expect, it's a good paycheck, etc., etc., I understand why it's so hard to leave. I really do. I understand that it's scary. I understand that it feels almost impossible. What am I going to do? It feels unsafe. It almost triggers your fight or flight. But you need to be able to leave. You need to, because otherwise you will stay forever. And if you don't like it now, I promise you that the likelihood of you not liking it tomorrow and after tomorrow and in 10 years, it's very big. You're gonna hate it more and more as time goes by, because you're gonna resent it more. You're gonna feel more drained. You're gonna have less energy and less capacity, and so you're literally just dying doing something that you hate. It's not worth it. Choosing yourself means choosing your dreams. It means choosing the life that you desire. It means going for it and not just staying comfortable, because I know it is scary, but choosing fear and choosing to act out of fear or not act out of fear is betraying yourself. It's not choosing yourself. That's not fair. You do not deserve that. And you deserve to be the person that believes enough to go for it, or loves, like, you love yourself enough that you go for your dreams, that you pursue them, you go after the things that you desire, that you don't settle just because, right? And that also means that these toxic and draining environments might also mean relationships and friendships, etc. Like, again, for me, it meant leaving my ex, but also it has meant like leaving certain friendships and not really like going after it. It meant allowing people to go if they want to leave. If they choose to leave, if they choose that I'm not valuable for some reason, then I'm not going to spend my entire life wondering why. I'm not going to spend my entire life like thinking that they should have stayed. Like, I deserve more than that. And I want to choose myself by allowing the people that need to leave, and taking myself out of situations that are not good for me. I think I've done that a lot. And sometimes it's with people that I like. For example, like, sometimes I have friends that I do like and I enjoy the company, but I'm also very aware of my energy and how my energy reacts to theirs, and how and I'm very aware of people's mindsets nowadays, because it's something that I'm constantly working on, or I'm trying to start. Well, it depends on the areas of my life, if I'm being honest. There's definitely areas of my life that I'm not really, but I want to get into it. But I am aware usually of mindset stuff, and I want to be with people that help me elevate, that inspire me, that like show me the possibilities of life, not the other way around. I don't want to be around people that constantly shrink me, that constantly make me feel like the things that I want are not possible, that are constantly talking about how life difficult is and how everything is expensive and how this sucks and that sucks. Like, I don't want that. And it's not that they're bad people, it's not that they're harming me, but they're harming my vision. Because if I'm constantly surrounded by people like that, then how can I like just believe in something, right? Like, belief is hard when you don't have any proof around you. And so if you want to believe in something that is not visible to you right now, you need to have at least some people around you, and your closest people preferably, that really like allow you to feel expansive and allow you to see all the possibilities available. If the people in your closest circle are the opposite of that, and make you feel like what you want is crazy and impossible, and they don't help you believe in yourself, again, it's not that they're bad people. They have their own limiting beliefs just like you have, but it harms you in some way. And so it means that you have to take some distance. And I have friends that I like, that I know I can't spend my entire life with them. Like, I can't give them too much of my energy, because I know that at a certain point, like, we're talking about things and we're having conversations, and it's not going to help me. It's not going to contribute to my vision. And if it's not contributing to my vision, it's taking away, And if people are draining that vision of mine, and draining my hope, and that energy of possibility, then I choose to not hang out with them that often. And that doesn't say anything about them. Again, it's not like I'm all this and everyone is just dumb and stupid. It's not coming from that place at all. It's just like, I need to be real with myself. And if this person is, it's like every time I'm with them, I just feel like maybe it's not possible, maybe I'm crazy, or I just feel a little less hopeful, then I can't. Like, I can't do that to myself. And I choose to walk away, or I choose to like create more distance, and I'm not hanging out with them that often. Because yeah, I still like them, but safe distance. For me, that's important. And again, it might also be cutting off people. Like, it might be that. And sometimes I've had to do that, and it sucks, but it's life. Sometimes you have to cut people off. Sometimes you really have to honor the fact that that person just isn't supposed to be in your life. There's this guy that, well, you already know him because I talk about him here and there, but I fell in love with him this past year, and we were kind of together in a situationship for a while, and eventually he moved countries and he did his own thing, etc., etc. And eventually I realized, okay, this person is not going to be choosing me. This person has things to figure out. They have places to go, and they're not really thinking about taking me there. And it really hurt me, to be honest. And I realized that constantly having them coming back to my life and texting me and reaching out and having that presence over and over again, while I was also like trying to move on, it was really hard. It was harming me. It was making me not like heal and not like let go. And so I really said to him, like, look, I need you to give me space. I need you to stop messaging me and reaching out. I need you to let me have that initiative when I'm ready for it. And he respected that. He honored that. If he didn't, eventually I guess I would have had to block him. Because that's how much I knew that was harming me. So again, it's not always pleasant, but it's definitely good. The other thing is perpetuating toxic and harmful patterns. Like, for example, when you're not eating or you're checking your weight constantly, you're abandoning yourself, you're like continuing to be in this toxic loop of reacting in a certain way to things and not really like changing your behavior, and you know it's harming you, and you know it's harming the person that you want to become, but you're not choosing anything. That is like, you need to choose yourself by breaking those patterns, by like stopping yourself from looping over and over again, because that's also choosing to stay in a harmful situation. That's what it means. If you stay in an internal harmful situation, that's still not choosing yourself. And so that means, for example, I realize that my money mindset is something that I really need to work on, and I keep postponing it. I just keep finding things that occupy my mind, and I keep prioritizing other things. But over and over again, this thing keeps coming back to the surface, reminding me that it's not figured out, that I have so much work to do in that area, and I need to go there, because if I don't, I'm harming my vision. And if I'm not choosing to go there and to like break those cycles actively, I'm not choosing myself. I'm betraying myself, or I'm abandoning myself, and I'm avoiding myself. I'm avoiding the work that needs to be done. And so I'm not really choosing myself when I do that. That's really important. Choosing yourself, it's not just about, leaving people that harm you and leaving situations that harm you. It's all also about breaking the patterns that harm you, because that's an internal situation that is going on. And then there's another thing that I have never, I don't know why. Well, no, actually I do have an episode about this. I just remembered, but it's about honoring your boundaries. That's one of the greatest ways that you can choose yourself. And it is, I don't think anything on my list is easy, to be honest, guys. Just speaking facts, none of these are easy. Honoring your boundaries is so important. It has given me so much resilience, so much like confidence in like owning my truth and owning my needs and my desires, and being like, sure, maybe I'm high maintenance, maybe I need a lot, maybe I'm too much, but like I am too much. And if you can't be enough for me, like if you can't deal with my too muchness, if you can't like be the person that I need you to be, if you can't honor my needs, then I'm sorry, but goodbye, or maybe you're not sorry and you're just like, fuck you, goodbye. Like depends on the person, depends on whatever's happening in the situation, but it's like you need to honor your boundaries. That means saying no to people that you're scared of saying no to, because you don't want to disappoint them, you don't want to hurt them, you don't want to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, you don't want to confront them, you don't want to cause conflict, whatever it is, whatever the reason whatever the reason is why you're not setting those boundaries, like you need to do it, because not doing it is harming you, and it is harming your vision. And again, that is not choosing yourself. So choosing yourself means like actually setting the boundaries, not just saying, you're a bad bitch and you do the thing. Like, girl, let's face it. A lot of the times you're probably not setting those boundaries. A lot of the times you're just letting people walk all over you. I was like that too, and sometimes I still allow them to do that, and every time I'm like, oh shit, I just allowed them to do that. But yeah, you as you gain awareness, you also get to choose better. So don't just like gain awareness and not do shit about it. Like gain awareness on like all these things, on the boundaries, on the things that you actually need, on the way you desire someone to show up for you, and make that clear. You need to make that clear, because if not, again, you're putting yourself in a situation where you're not going to feel safe, you're not going to feel seen, you're not going to feel like embraced to be your full self, because truthfully, you're not allowing yourself to be your true full self, because being your full self means like honoring your needs, and it means honoring your desires. It means that, these are my needs, this is what I want. Can you meet me here? Because if you can't, then you're not for me, and you need to honor that to the point where you're willing to leave, to the point where you're willing to let someone go. That needs to be an option if you want to honor yourself and you want to choose yourself. Because if you're choosing someone and you're choosing comfort and you're choosing I guess, yeah, if you're choosing to make someone else comfortable, if you're choosing to not have conflict over choosing what is important to you, then you are betraying yourself. And that's not what I want, because that's not going to help you love yourself and find power in yourself. So that's a big one for me. Honestly, it has changed my life. Like nowadays I set boundaries like a bad bitch for the most part. I feel pretty bad bitch when I do that. Like it's still hard, it's still scary, but a lot of times I'm just like, okay, here's what's up. Like, here's what's up. Let me give you some feedback. I don't like this. Stop doing that. Can you honor it? Because if not, goodbye. That's literally me. Well, not literally. I'm still a softie at heart. So I'm still like, deep down, I'm shaking. I'm like, can you just honor this, please? It's like, I'm super scared, but I try to do it, and I try to honor myself. Because, it's the path. I'm willing to put myself in uncomfortable situations at this point. If it's for me, it's worth it. If it's for me, it's worth it. The other thing is, it kind of goes along with the boundaries, but it's speaking your truth, even at the risk of being rejected and abandoned. You have to be very clear about your needs, about what you want. Being transparent instead of playing games, instead of like allowing someone else to guess, instead of just like giving someone a silence treatment, like that's not being real with yourself. The thing is, you think you're being smart by not speaking up when you're annoyed because you want someone to pick up that you're annoyed, but really you're not giving yourself a chance to resolve the situation. You're not giving yourself a chance to be real and to be true. Because I really want to talk about this. This is something that I've been thinking about. I just don't know how to put it for an actual episode, but I do want to talk about it. I'm actually it's a long story. I can't tell you now. But conscious communication is really important, but it always starts with you. And the reason why it's important is because if you're not communicating what you mean, and you're just playing games with words, and you're kind of trying to say what you mean without saying what you mean, then you're not giving yourself a chance to be honored. You think you're being smooth with it, but really you're just trapping yourself. Because when you're not clear, and this is not just about being clear with other people, it's with yourself. Speaking your truth always starts with being true with yourself, and means, again, sometimes having to choose the uncomfortable path, the tough route, if that makes sense. And it means that you're gonna say, I want this is what I need. Look, you did this, I didn't really like it. Or can we talk about this? Can we be clear on what it is that we're doing here? Or if you're talking to the universe, I want this, and this is what I want, and I don't want this is, just being so clear that there is no room for misunderstandings, or that at least you are being so clear, and that you're being clear, because obviously I guess misunderstandings are not fully in your control, but at least that you did your part. Because if you don't do your part and someone misunderstands you, then it might be your responsibility. It might be your responsibility that your needs are not being met, and that what you want is not coming towards you. Because if you're not just being blunt, and you're not this is it, this is what I mean, no games, no no half words, no half sentences, no philosophizing or whatever, or changing subjects. It's you go straight to the point, you say it how it is, Like, that means choosing yourself. I just had the craziest and stupidest example. But for example, when you're having sex, and this is something that I personally have struggled with before, which is not saying what I want. Like, if I want the guy to go down on me, I'm scared to say it, so I don't say it. Or if I want him to stop, or I want him to go slower, or I want him to like keep the pace, because we all know, the girls, we all know that we need that shit. There's that point where suddenly it's like, you stay right where you are, don't change a fucking thing. And so it's like, if we don't speak up, we cannot be surprised that we do not get what we want. And when we don't speak up, we don't allow ourselves to get what we want. We're not giving ourselves a chance, aka we are not really choosing ourselves. And so this is what you need to understand. Choosing yourself means speaking your truth, even at the risk of being rejected, of being abandoned, of not being liked, of not everyone understanding you, but you speak your truth. And obviously there's a time and place and way for you to do that without like actively hurting it. Like, you might hurt people, by the way, but it's that, like, instead of saying you're stupid, you might say you hurt me. Because saying you're stupid is easy, but saying, look, you hurt me, that's vulnerable. And we don't usually want to say that. So we say, you're stupid and I hate you, but it's like, you hurt me and I love you and that's why it hurts, you know? Like, we don't speak our truth really. If we want to be respected by someone, we're like, yeah, because you're doing this and you're doing that. Instead, you speak your truth and you say, look, I need these things, and I feel like you're not really like doing those things. I feel like you're not actively paying attention to what I need, but I want this to be clear. Can you provide that for me? Can you be this person for me? Because if they say no, then it's your decision, you know, then it's in your power. But if you're not speaking your truth, then you're always going to blame a situation, or because this, or because they don't get you, or because they don't see you. But truthfully, if you don't allow them to see you, if you don't allow yourself to be seen by people, by the universe, by your work environment and your colleagues and whatever, you cannot expect things to go your way. Because certain things, yes, other people's perceptions is out of your control, but at the same time, you do get to control some part of it. And you control your reality by speaking, acting, and being in your truth. And for me, that's very important. When I was in my situationship that I just talked to you guys about, I should have said, I want more. I should have made that so perfectly clear. Like, I want to date you. I genuinely love you and I want to be your girlfriend. Like, I would be your wife, to be honest. Like, I wish I've said that. I was so scared of being vulnerable. I was so scared that I wanted him more than he wanted me that I didn't. And honestly, I regret it, because if I had said that and he had been like, I don't want that, I could have let go much more, like much sooner. Or in an ideal universe and reality, maybe he would have said, oh my God, yes, marry me. You know what I mean? But that didn't happen. I kept like kind of, you know, I said certain things. I told him I loved him. I told him I cared. I told him like that it would be great to live together and do these things, and we would have these very clearly conversations that we liked each other and we cared about each other. But I was never fully clear on saying, I want you. I want only you. I want a relationship with you. I want commitment with you. I want a lifetime with you, you know? And that's just an example. For example, with my best friend, like sometimes we struggle with communication, or we used to struggle. Well, nowadays it's much better, and I'm actually bringing her to the podcast to have a conversation about conscious communication. But that's soon. It's a long story. But you know, with her, it was always very hard because I felt like sometimes I needed support. Sometimes I needed to just be heard, and I just needed for her to hold me, and I wouldn't speak up. I wouldn't say like, look, I need this. You know, I would just like leave it to destiny, leave it to fate, and I would just say my things. And then if she were to like guide me or try to like, you know, kind of coach me a little, or, you know, give me advice, and I was not ready to receive it, I would kind of complain and be angry at her. But really, I didn't speak up at first. Like, I didn't voice what I needed. And so how can I expect her to meet my needs and to meet my desires if I'm not making it perfectly clear? Because when you make it perfectly clear, again, then you can understand, like, is this person receptive to me? Is this person even listening? Does this person care? Can this person be what I need? But if you're not speaking up, do not expect someone to meet your needs. Do not expect someone to just know. People don't just know things. We tell them by our attitudes, by the way we communicate, by what we don't say, but we kind of say, like, but when we stop playing games, we give ourselves a chance to honor ourselves, to choose our truth. And that's really important because, again, choosing your truth means choosing yourself, which means creating the desired reality, creating the life of your dreams. It's another step towards your vision. It's another step towards the life that you want to create, towards your manifestations, and towards the person that you want to be. Because your higher self, oh, believe me, she speaks facts. She tells the truth. She says it how it is. She just says it. And it's not coming out of hate or resentment. It's coming out of love for herself and love for, like, compassion for, like, I can't expect you to, like, know what I want. So I'm just going to give it to you. I'm going to say it bluntly, clearly. And then if you can't be that person, then it's my responsibility to walk away. But we don't want to make it our responsibility. So we play games. We think everyone should guess things. But, like, that's not real. That's really not real. So yeah, oh my god, I really didn't think that I was gonna stay so long in this one point. But I guess I feel passionate about this because I know, girls, I literally know what it is to not communicate. I used to never say what I wanted. I know I still struggle with that, and that's something I'm constantly working on. So it is definitely getting better. Hopefully it's gonna get even better. The next point is choosing yourself means not settling for anything less than what you actually want, than what you truly desire. And I have this conversation so often. I know I've said this so many times here on the podcast, but I think I cannot ever stress this enough. It is that important. When we settle for things that we don't want, and it's like, oh, it's kind of like, oh, I'm okay. Oh, it's not that bad. Like, oh, it's bad. If you're saying it's not that bad, it's terrible. Because we don't want not that bad. We want awesome. We want incredible. We want magical. We want meaningful. We want, like, expensive. We want exciting. We want passionate. We don't want just, yeah, it's okay. Like, it's good. Oh, it pays the bills. Oh, no, bitch, no. You know what I mean? Do not allow yourself to settle. I promise you, you will regret it. And it's not worth it. Regret is so it's so expensive. Not expensive of expansion, expensive of it's fucking expensive, you know? It costs a lot. It costs a lot of energy. It costs a lot of your dreams. Like, it's not worth the price. It's not worth the price. You know, it might feel comfortable at first, but then it's going to be the shittiest thing ever. And you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. And why, you know? We are young. I mean, I'm sure most of you guys are young, but even if you're not young, like, who cares? You still have a lifetime ahead of you. Like, the truth is, every day is an opportunity for you to make better choices. Like, I know people that have changed their lives in their 50s, in their 60s, in their 80s, whatever the hell. Like, every single day, every single moment is an opportunity for you to do better by you. It's an opportunity for you to choose yourself. It's an opportunity for you to change your life. And so don't just settle, especially if you're young, and most of you are. If you're around my age, you're in your 20s. It's just like, you have so many years ahead of you. Allow yourself to like figure it out. Allow yourself to actually go for what you desire. Because if you're not doing it now, do you think that you're gonna feel safe to do it in 10 years when you're already used to the payment, when you're already, like, buying a house and you already have all these things, and so everything is already established based on that job that you hate? And then for you to change your job, it means kind of having to risk everything that you've already built around that. Like, it's not fair to you. Build it now. Now is the best time for you to do that. Now it's the best time for you to take risks. Now it's the best time for you to make mistakes. And now it's the best time for you to choose yourself. Because if you start choosing yourself now, imagine the life that you're going to build. Imagine everything that you're going to create out of that energy of, I choose me. When you choose yourself, magic happens. Magic happens, baby. You know what I mean? Like, it really does. I cannot express this enough. It's beautiful. Like, all the things that I have created from this place have been absolutely, like, breathtaking and just mind-blowing, really. I really never thought that I could create this reality for myself in every way, internal reality and external reality. And I'm still working on certain things for sure. Like, I have a lot of work to do, 100%, that I do not want to do. But like, oh, the price is so bad. Like, I do not want to pay the price of settling. And for me, that has been about not settling with men that are not giving me what I desire. Even if they're giving me half of it, even if they're giving me 80%, like, I want the fucking 100. I want everything that I desire. And again, there are things that are like certain things that for me are flexible. And usually we have those, like, standards that are flexible, but there are also things that for me are non-negotiable. And for example, with a guy, like, I do not want to have to pay the price of settling with someone and then feeling not satisfied and feeling resentful towards the person and towards myself. And then, because the thing is, you can fall in love. I mean, personally, I can fall in love with literally any guy that I see. I swear to you guys, like, if I spend enough time with someone and I'm like developing more intimacy and developing more like vulnerability with that person, like, eventually I know I'm gonna fall in love, because you fall in love kind of easily. But the thing is, you have to choose who you fall in love with. You have to choose who you're gonna give that heart to, give that part of you to. For me, that's really important. And I want to choose my future husband. That's the truth. That's the truth, girls. I want to choose my future husband. I'm not settling for anything less. Like, no, I'm looking for my husband. Like, that's the guy I want. And that's what I'm, like, waiting for. I don't care if I have to wait, but I'm doing it. That's how committed I am to myself. Choosing myself means that I'm not going to settle for any other guy just because I'm lonely or I'm desperate or I need dick. Like, no, I'm going to choose the right person because I deserve that love. I deserve to fulfill my vision. I deserve to, like, feel like deeply loved, deeply seen, deeply appreciated. I deserve the princess treatment. I deserve good sex. Like, I deserve all those things, and I want them. I'm willing to work for it and I'm willing to adjust, but I'm not willing to give up on my vision to stay comfortable. So for me, that's a big thing. It's like, do not settle unless it's what you truly desire. Do not settle for a job that you don't like, or that you kind of like, or that you like. Okay, do you see yourself doing that for the next 50 years? Do you see yourself continuing to feel passionate about that? Do you have purpose in that? Do you feel meaning in that? Because if you don't, leave the job. Like, do it as fast as possible, as soon as possible. Just do it. Really do it. If that means that for a few months you have to stay with your parents, stay with your parents. Stay with your friend. Go work until you find your job and until you get the interview and you get the job. Like, whatever you need to do, but do the thing, like, do it. Do it for yourself. You so deserve that. Like, there is no space, or there should be no space in your life for you to not make your dreams come true. There should be no space. There should be no doubt that you're going to fight for yourself. Choosing yourself means fighting for yourself. That's so sacred to me. Like, you have no idea how sacred that is. It's like, it's my ride or die. It's like, I'm choosing myself. Even if it's hard, even if sometimes it takes me time, even if sometimes I don't know what that means, even if I have to figure it out, even if I'm scared and I'm lost and I'm overwhelmed, even if I'm, like, terrified and even if I'm not sure where I'm going and I'm not sure if it's actually possible, I'm still going to choose it, because not even trying, it's giving up on myself. And just the trying means choosing myself. But I don't want to give up on myself, because giving up on myself is giving up on my life. And I know that I deserve that. I know that you guys deserve that. I know you don't want to live a purposeless life. I know you don't want that. No one wants that. No one wants to just be existing here and working every day of your life for nothing. Like, we want purpose. We desire that. Our soul desires that. We have a fire within us for a reason. And you deserve to set fire to your world, if that makes sense. You deserve to live a passionate life. I genuinely feel that, and I don't want to settle for anything less. I'm not willing to settle for anything less, no matter how hard it is, no matter how long it takes. Like, I genuinely, I mean, it's scary. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's terrifying to think about it, but But goddamn, goddamn, the other option, it makes me like, it makes me question being alive, to be honest, you know? Like, that's how bad it feels to me. I can't settle. I cannot accept a life I don't want. And neither should you. So that is a big one. Oh my god, that was so inspirational. Okay, let me drink some water. Cause girls, it's getting hot in here. Oh my god. It's me. Oh my god. No, I'm just kidding. Well, give me a second. I need to drink water. I'm talking a lot. I have no idea how long it's been. So the next one, it's choosing yourself means stepping outside of your comfort zone. We've been kind of talking about this for the entire conversation because all of these probably mean that you're gonna step outside of your comfort zone. But it's like, be willing to challenge yourself to be the person that you desire to be. Be willing to push yourself. Be willing to do the unthinkable. Be willing to do what you never thought you were capable of doing. Challenge yourself, like make it a game. Like, can I actually do it? Like, I've told you about this on the episode that I talked about my trip to Italy. But basically, I was in the middle of the street and I went to this place and it had like this very good acoustics, like it had good echo, and I love singing. And so I was like, oh my god, this is so good, I want to sing here. But it was like in the middle of the street and everyone, like, well, there wasn't a lot of people there, but people were like coming, like passing by, and I was like, I mean, I'm not gonna sing here. So I just threw a ooh, 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 ooh. I was just like doing that to like feel the acoustics, but I was like, oh my god, this is too good, I want to sing. And eventually I start singing. That it took me like half an hour, I swear. But I put my phones in, my earbuds in, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna put some karaoke and I'm gonna start singing. I waited until there was no one there, but I knew some people would come and pass by eventually. But I was just like, okay, at least to start, let me just pretend that I'm alone here. And I start and I'm like, oh my god. And then, guys, I sang for like an entire fucking hour of people passing by, even people that like sat there like nearby, and they were just listening. Even a guy after, like a man, like a little old guy, approached me, and he was like, oh my god, you sing amazingly. Like, he was talking in Italian, but he was like, you sing amazingly, brava, brava. I was like, thank you, like super shy. But that's the thing, you know, like I pushed myself to do something that I never thought I would do ever. I was like, no fucking way I can do this. But I was like, can I do it? And because that's the thing, every time you start, like when you start pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, okay, let me start that again. When you start pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, you realize how powerful it is, and you realize how like powerful it makes you feel, and how confident you become, and how it brings so many opportunities to you. Like, it literally like brings so many opportunities towards you, and it kind of like opens you up to all these other things and all this abundance and all these like miracles almost, and you feel like capable of anything. It's so empowering. And so every time you do it, you gain a little more confidence and a little more power. And every time you're like thinking about doing something that is outside of your comfort zone, you start thinking like, first of all, I've already done those things, so it means that I know deep down I can do this. And it also means that you understand that if you don't do it, you're gonna regret it, because now you know how good it can become for you. And so you're like, god damn, I know if I don't do this, I'm gonna regret it, and there's no point in me regretting this, because if I do it, I just do it. If it sucks, it sucks, but if it's good, it can be really good. But if I don't do it, then what the fuck am I doing here? Like, I'm not living to never challenge myself. Because if you never challenge yourself, then you're not stretching your comfort zone. You're not stretching your perception of your reality. You're not stretching the person that you are. And so you become confined in who you've always been. And that's not fair to you. Like, you deserve to see who you can become. And that means that sometimes you got to push yourself. That's what choosing yourself means. You push yourself to become who you never thought you could be. Like, you challenge yourself. You make it a game. You're like, okay, let me see if I can do this. Like, okay, let me do this uncomfortable thing. Like, what do I have to lose? Because what you have to lose if you don't do it, it's much bigger. It's much bigger. Like, this year, I can also remember something. There was this guy I was following on my Instagram. He's a spiritual dude. He does comedy stuff. and he was really fun. And I was following him for a few weeks, and suddenly he's in Portugal, where I live, in Lisbon specifically, where I live. And he's like, he posts a story, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna be in Lisbon today. Does someone want to hang out? And I'm like, oh my god, like, I don't know this person. I'm scared that he's gonna think, I'm a girl, he's a guy. I always have that perception that maybe he's gonna think or gonna have certain expectations, or that, like, that always makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. But I was like, I want to do it. Like, I want to do it. Because I know if I don't do it, then I'm not living my life. I'm just existing. What's the point of that? What's the point in not living and not, like, being intentional, and not, like, going to adventures, and not, like, going towards the unknown? Because then, like, imagine an entire book of 300 pages where every single page, it's the same fucking story. You would not read that book. Your life doesn't have to look like a boring fucking book. Your life gets to be full of experience. It doesn't have to be crazy shit like, oh my god, jumping from a helicopter. Okay, it doesn't have to mean that, but it gets to be these smaller things. Like, I decided to go. I was super nervous, literally. Like, my heart was racing, I was sweating, I was super nervous. But it was nice. Like, we had a good conversation. It wasn't the best because, I was scared. I wanted him to like me. And I feel like a lot of the times I was saying a lot of things, and I was like, I don't know. Sometimes I have this thing when I start talking, and I catch on this word. I don't know if this ever happens to you, but I focus on a word for some reason. Like, for example, I'm saying boundaries today, right? And suddenly I can't stop saying boundaries. And every single thing I speak about and I talk about, suddenly I'm talking about boundaries. And like this happens to me, right? And that day I was talking about this word obsessed, like, got into my mind for some reason, and I kept saying, oh my god, I'm obsessed with that, I'm obsessed with this, I'm obsessed. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm not that obsessed with things, but like, it started being pursued that way, and I started getting nervous because I'm like, oh my god, this guy thinks I'm a lunatic because I'm obsessed with everything, and he thinks I'm so out of balance, and he's spiritual, so he's probably thinking to himself like, okay, this girl is intense, this girl is like still not doing the work, or she's still like very in the beginning of it. And so I'm just like worrying about how he's perceiving me, but deep down I'm really happy that I did it anyways, because you know what, I challenged myself. Like, I did something that it was out of my comfort zone, and I got to experience something that I wouldn't have experienced otherwise. So that was a win. Even if I was kind of like stressed, but ultimately I did enjoy myself. Like, honestly, we had a good conversation, we laughed here and there, and I got to also like hear some stories from him that were really cool and were really inspirational. And it's like, it adds up to who you are, it adds up to the plot, let's say, it adds up to your character, it really does. And I want to build this brilliant character that inspires me and makes me feel like that I'm in love with, but it inspires me, that makes me want to do these hard things, that makes me want to push myself more and more from a loving place, not from like, oh, you can never settle and you can never be comfortable, you always got to push yourself. Like, that's not it. It's coming from a place of, I love myself, let me see where else I can go. Like, it's with excitement, it's with curiosity, not with fear, not like, if I don't push myself, I'm gonna be here forever. Like, it doesn't come from that place. It comes from like, I want to explore, I want to see who I can become. I genuinely do. I want to live, I want to experience life, I want to experience my life like it's a movie, and I'm watching this character develop and evolve and becoming more, and I'm like, oh my god, this character's development, it's on another fucking level, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I desire for myself. So yeah. I'm feeling really passionate right now. I don't know what's happening. I'm just feeling myself a lot. Like, I feel like this conversation started with me feeling a bit like, because I've been trying to record this shit for a while. Then I was like, okay, now I'm feeling myself, and I'm feeling myself, and I'm feeling myself even more, and I'm like, I can't shut up. So yeah, that's me. Hi girls. That's literally me in my essence, just being a very talkative, intense, crazy person in the best way. But I hope you're enjoying this conversation so far. The other thing that kind of goes along with a lot of things that I've been saying, again, these are all intertwined, these are all connected, one influences the other, and in a way they're all the same thing, but I wanted to make it like into different things, into different, like, I don't know, into different like segments, or into different like little action steps or something, because I want you to be able to like analyze your life and where you're at and what you've been doing, and really understand, okay, like, am I doing these things, right? So the next one is keeping your word to yourself. For me, this is, oh my god, I need to, if you're watching this on video, I don't know if you're seeing my foot, but okay, no, okay, sorry. I just need to change positions. But speaking your truth, no, not speaking your truth, sorry, keeping your word to yourself. For me, that is very, very important. And that is a big part of honoring yourself and choosing yourself. And that means, for example, if you say, okay, I want to meditate, then you meditate. I'm not saying that you have to meditate every day. See, that's the thing. You also have to be realistic when you make commitments with yourself. Like, you need to be committed, but you need to be also true, like, also be real. Like, can you meditate every day? Are you gonna feel the thing to meditate every day? Because sometimes I meditate every day, but sometimes I don't meditate for like weeks, you know? So it depends, but I try to meditate often. I try to do yoga often. I try to, like, well, I don't try, I should try more, like walking, going on walks, like going to parks, just relaxing outside of my house more often. And for me, that's really important. But keeping your word might mean, like, if you say you're not going to do that thing, don't do that thing. And if you say, I am committed to this, I know I want to do this, and it's for example, you know, it's a new year now that we're, you know, it's December. I feel like this is good for context, but it's a new year and you want to choose yourself, and you're like, okay, this year is the year that I'm going to change my life. This year is the year that I'm going to start healing and doing the inner work and really, like, healing my inner child and starting to do shadow work and starting to, like, free myself from all these limiting beliefs and all these wounds and all my past. Like, this is the year, right? You say that to yourself. All of us make really empty promises during, you know, New Year's Eve. I've been doing that my entire life, and finally I'm not, you know, like, obviously a lot of things that I did say I was going to do and I was going to commit to, I didn't do all of them, but I did do a lot of them. And even the ones that I didn't do fully and I did partially, it helped me. Like, it really did. And slowly and surely I am, like, committing more and more to all those things. And I am, like, that is helping me grow, even if I'm not doing it fully. But just choosing yourself and keeping your word, like, as much as you can, is already enough to change you so much. And so for New Year's Eve, when you're gonna, like, say what you want to manifest, and you're like, okay, this is the year that I'm going to do this. This is the year that I'm going to do that. Like, be very conscious about what you're saying, and make sure that what you're saying, you're not just saying it out loud. You're not just, like, make sure that you mean it. Make sure that you're going to be intentional about that. Make sure that you are choosing yourself by choosing to stick to what you said you would do. And that doesn't mean, because that's the thing, like, then you don't grab onto it. Like, you have to, okay, I choose myself, or I want to heal my inner child. But imagine that during that process, you also find that, you know, your inner child, after all, is also your inner teenager. Like, it doesn't mean that, okay, no, I got to stick to my inner child. Like, if honoring yourself means that you kind of start, like, shifting. For example, if I commit to, I don't know, making 10K this year every month, like, but eventually I realized, okay, I don't want 10K, I want, like, 20K, or after all, I don't want to have this business, I want to change business. It means that you allow yourself to change it, to shift. Like, honoring yourself, again, like, ultimately it's about honoring your truth. And if your truth changes, that's okay, as long as you're honoring that, right? But overall, if you're committed to doing better, if you're committing to, like, being a better version of yourself, and choosing yourself in more ways and bigger ways, and really, like, you want to change your life, don't just say that. Actually mean it, because empty promises harm you. Empty promises harm the perception that you have of yourself, and they make you feel like you cannot rely on yourself, like you can't believe, like you can't trust yourself. And that and doing that constantly will make you feel like you can't trust you, and that's gonna, like, harm the perception that you have of yourself, in terms of, it's gonna harm your self-belief, it's gonna harm your credibility towards yourself. And so you're gonna feel less powerful and less capable of making the right choices, of taking the right steps, of choosing yourself. And when that happens, you lose self-esteem, you lose self-confidence, you lose self-love, and that's gonna harm you a lot. So choosing yourself means, if you say you want to do something, you better do that fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like, do it. For example, this year, and I think I've already mentioned this, but this year I decided that I wanted to work on my money mindset. And I did. For the beginning of the year, I invested in coaching. I coached about money mindset. I was reading a book. I'm still reading that book, to be honest. I was reading a book and I was like starting to like work towards it. And I felt like things were starting to shift, you know? But eventually I kind of stopped. I don't know why. Like, I guess life just got in the way. And honestly, it is hard work. It is hard work because it means that I have to be uncomfortable. It means that I have to face things. It means that I have to be in the shadows, which is always hard because it's like it brings back wounds, it brings back pain. It's really uncomfortable. And so I think deep down I just started avoiding it. And now it's like the end of the year and I'm like, oh, like I started doing this, in the beginning of the year, but I kind of like stopped. And I said that I was gonna commit to it, but I didn't. And of course a part of me feels disappointed, but I'm not even trying, like I don't want to focus on that. I'm focused on, okay, that's still important to me, that's still necessary, so how can I continue to show up for myself now? How can I change the course, and how can I change the directions, and how can I like make sure that the next choice that I make is coming from this place of I want to commit to this, so that means that maybe next year I will hire another coach, or that means that I'm gonna read more books about it. That means that I'm gonna like start having days where I'm like taking care of my finances and really really looking at the things. That means that I'm gonna start implementing things like practical things. I'm not saying that everything you do has to be practical, but in my specific example, like I need to be more practical, because if I'm just all over the place and I'm not really sure what I have to do and how I can work on it, I'm probably just gonna ignore it because I have other things that I need to do and I don't have that much time and I blah blah blah. Like I make excuses, and ultimately I'm not gonna honor that commitment that I have with myself. And I do want to honor it because it's that important, and I want to choose myself and I want to choose my vision. And choosing that vision means that I need to work on this, because if I don't, it's gonna harm my vision, and I don't deserve that. So that's the big thing. Like keep your word to yourself. That is so, so important. And the other thing, it's one of the last things, is being willing to do the work. Choosing yourself means that you are willing to do the work. You're willing to do the inner and the shadow work. You're willing to go very deep into your wounds. You're willing to face the shit. You're willing you're willing to face your darkest parts of yourself. You're willing to face the pain. You're willing to go where it hurts. You're willing to face the discomfort. You're willing to do it. Choosing yourself means being willing to do the work. And that work means whatever you feel like you need to work on, whether that's boundaries, people pleasing, whether that's low self-esteem, whether that's like poor money mindset and a poor abundance mindset, and you feel like you don't believe that you can be successful, or you don't believe that you can create your dream career, or you don't believe that love is available for you. Whatever you feel like is really getting in the way, whatever you feel like it should be your focus point in like the thing that is keeping you stuck in the life that you don't want to live, in a reality that you want to change, like that thing, go there and start understanding, how can I work through this? Because obviously if you don't know, you're also going to feel overwhelmed. So instead of being like, oh, I don't know how to do this, like go research about it. Like there's literally so much content on the internet about like how to do it, how to like, how to build like that's all I talk about, by the way. Like you can consume my content because it's all I talk about. No, but for real, like you get to research about it, you get to buy books about it, you get to hire coaches and go on the memberships and go on masterminds and get a therapist. If you don't have money, then you get to like start doing shadow work and journaling and affirmations, and you get to consume content on social media. Like there's so much available for you. So do not stop yourself because you feel like you don't know. The truth is, the not knowing is comfortable to you. Like you would rather say you don't know than actually figuring it out, because figuring it out takes time. Figuring it out takes effort, takes energy. It's probably going to make you uncomfortable. And so you would rather say, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to change. I don't know how to be better. I don't know how to love myself. I don't know how to like I don't know how to have a good money mindset. We say these things, sure, but the truth is you don't need to know, but you can figure it out. You can find out the answers. You can search. Like, there's literally so much available to us. So the only thing, really, the only thing that is stopping you is yourself. And again, you deserve more. Like, you deserve to really choose yourself, and that means you deserve to do the inner work, which is something that we never want to do. And we only do it when we're like, when we've hit rock bottom. I feel like a lot of times that's what happens. Like, we wait until we hit rock bottom to like do the thing, but you don't have to go that low. Like, you get to do it as you are right now, where you are. I waited 7 years to do the inner work so that I could leave my relationship. I could have like saved myself from so much heartbreak, so much trauma, really, but I didn't. Like, I also didn't have the awareness until a certain point, obviously. And when you don't know, you really don't know. Like, when you don't have self-awareness, then you can't possibly do the work. But as soon as I realized, as soon as I had the awareness, I kept like rejecting the work. I kept ignoring it and avoiding it and just like overlooking it and trying to pretend that it wasn't there, but it was. And I know it's probably calling you right now. I know there's something in you that you need to go towards. Like, you need to face, you need to talk about it with yourself. Like, you need to confront it. And so do it. Please do it for yourself. Commit to working on that this next year. Do the thing. Do the work, because it is worth it. Like, it literally will change your life. It will take you from where you are to a place you never thought you could go, to where you want to be. It will take you from feeling shitty about life and yourself to feeling good, to feeling hopeful, to feeling powerful, to feeling confident. That is worth every single effort. Like, that is worth every single thing. And so do it. Do it for you. Just do it. Nike said it best. Just fucking do it. And yeah, that is it. I mean, I said I had something else, but I kind of forgot, to be honest. It wasn't written. It was the only thing that I didn't write, but I remembered. I remembered it as I was talking, and now I can't remember it. So I guess it wasn't that important. Obviously, every single time I do a podcast, I'm talking about these things because it's really important, and it means everything to me. And I think it means everything in terms of how much you grow and how much you heal. And so I do talk about these things so often. So if you want to be in this energy of choosing yourself, of creating the life of your dreams, of feeling confident, of becoming the best version of yourself, then just keep on listening to these episodes. Keep following, or if you're not following, follow the podcast. Episodes are coming out every Thursday, and they're really awesome and valuable and inspiring, and I love doing them. And thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Bye.